Why, hello there, mortals. It is I, Cecile Bellamere, and it is wonderful to see you again. Now, today I thought it would be interesting to show you how I apply my makeup and get ready for another busy day at the Necroman-Spa. So if you're interested in finding out how I do my makeup and also finding out a little bit more about me, then please keep watching. Now, dear mortals, you must forgive my appearance. As many of you know, I am dreadfully old, and there's only so much you can do when you reach my age. And today we are going to be getting ready for another day or night at the Necroman-Spa. I wonder what ghoulishly fiendish characters will be walking through my doors today. But before that even is remotely possible, I must make myself more presentable, just in case I give the poor devils a fright. Now, you will notice that I am much more tanned than usual. I gave myself a spray tan yesterday, so I am a lot less pale than what I normally would be. So we will just be utilizing the very basic makeup for face today, and I will be going for a more seductive look today, and the face, I would say, to blend in more with human society, as I'll be going out a little bit later on today. So, first things first, I want to draw your attention to my very special mirror that I will be using. Now, I know that a lot of you clever clogs out there say that some mirrors would actually reflect a vampire's reflection because they are no longer backed in silver. Yes. Well, I took on board your advice and had a very special mirror made by an enchantress, and she is so clever, and she made me an enchanted mirror so that I can do my makeup for the first time in hundreds of years, actually being able to see myself. Isn't that wonderful? So I have the enchanted mirror here. Why is it enchanted, you ask? Well, it tells me things that I want to hear. Yes, oh well, you are just wonderful. So we'll start with foundation. And we don't need an awful lot. The spray tan that I use is wonderful at really creating a blank canvas. So this is just superficial, really just to create more of a tint to the skin. And you'll notice that I use my fingers. My hands are very, very cold, and it's quite soothing on the skin. So, not much at all. So, the foundation done. Next, concealer. Again, when you're as old as what I am, eye bags are a little bit more pronounced. When you sleep in a coffin like I do, sometimes you can have quite a restless night, especially when your familiar doesn't put it in the right place for you, which is quite bothersome. Or they forget to draw the blinds, or they don't put in your favourite pillow, or your favourite aromatherapy spray that helps you fall to sleep, all of those things. It's dreadfully annoying sometimes when your familiar is quite, how do I put it politely, quite rubbish, and I'm in the market, so to speak, for another one. Being a familiar is hard work, I suppose, not that I would know, but we vampires rely on them to do our daily chores, our daily errands that we simply cannot do ourselves because it requires going out in daylight, which of course we cannot. So that's concealer. Very basic. Now we move on to eyelid primer. Now I wear a great deal of eyeshadow, so this really helps it to stick. As my skin is dead, I find it's quite difficult to find products that stick to your skin. I've used many products in the past, from mortuary makeup for cadavers that seemed to work pretty well, but it was always quite difficult to get hold of. But you mortals have a great deal of variety in your makeup, which is quite something, and I've managed to find a great deal of products that work on my skin, which is truly wonderful. You're also inventive and very colourful. Eyebrows now, and I like my eyebrows to be quite pronounced and quite full and thick, so I like to brush them in an upward fashion like this. I believe it has just started to rain. How delightful. I do quite like the rain, especially being caught out in it without an umbrella. I find it's quite romantic. And fun fact, that's how I first was turned into a vampire all those years ago. It was a stormy night. The rain was really, really coming down, and I couldn't see a thing in front of my face. I was quite lost. I was on my way home back from the market, I believe. I don't really remember what I was doing. It was so long ago, but it was raining something fierce. And out of nowhere, I felt a sharp pain in my neck. I thought, oh goodness, what is that? and I was walking through the woods, quite lost. And my mother used to tell me stories of creatures that lived in the woods and would capture young people. And I thought, oh, it's one of those, come to take me away. And sure enough, it was. My vampire maker was a very strange vampire. He was very eccentric. He didn't mean to turn me into a vampire. I was just a snack. But he took pity on me and decided to turn me fully into a vampire. He unfortunately was consumed by sunlight a couple of 100 years after that. So I was left all alone, still in my fledgling years. So I had to really fend for myself for many, many hundreds of years. The Vampire Society is a very closed community. If you don't have your mentor or a guide, like a vampire guide, like a patron, it is quite difficult to get anywhere in this world. It is quite ferocious, and it's dog eat dog, I think the expression goes. So I was left all alone. I bounced from one city to another city, trying to find vampires who were in a similar situation to me. I've lived in London, Paris, Rome, all places, and they were much, much different back then. But my favourite city that I've lived in has to be Constantinople. It was a marvellous city. But anyway, I digress. So I eventually found a person, a vampire, whom was in the same situation as me. His name was Vlad, and I do miss him, so maybe one day I will tell you about Vlad, but I don't think I can bring myself to it just this time. It is a very, very sad story. But anyway, I found Vlad, and we spent many, many years together, and he encouraged me to open up the Necroman-Spa. I was always fascinated by beauty and cosmetics and how you can transform yourself from one thing to another. And it was Vlad who encouraged me to apply for the School of Undead Beauty. There I graduated, and well, the rest is history. The Necroman-Spa was a ramshackled old building that was condemned for many years, and Vlad encouraged me to buy it. We had saved a lot of money, and well, he helped me buy this place, and here I am to this day. So, enough of me reminiscing. Now we are going to do some contouring. And this is a new skill that I have learned from the mortals. You can make yourself look even more ghoulish than what you already are. How wonderful. So I'm going to start with my cheekbones. And I don't actually have today the correct contouring product that I normally use, but we're using something a little bit different. I'm using a shade called Vestland from this absolutely gorgeous palette by Luxarza, Glamour Night, and it reminds me of my times in Istanbul, Turkey, all of that sort of thing. And we'll be using the colours in this palette today on my eyes too, as they're quite beautiful. So, let's do some contouring now. So, you'll notice that it has a slight purplish tinge to it, which is just my colour. I love this kind of hollowed out look, but with a pop of colour. I don't necessarily like to wear blush because it makes me look a little bit, I don't know, a little bit too human. And I like to keep it old school. So this purple gives you that kind of aura about you. Just quite lovely. Just keep blending until it looks just splendid. The other side. You have to work quite quickly with these products. Yes, very nice, very nice. Just a little bit more to depth. Just add depth. Yes, and down the chin. I like that sharp, vampiric look because it, I feel, makes me look more frightening but alluring. It gives me that kind of very chiseled look, which is lovely. I'm also going to get some and put it around my eye socket. To make that very lovely depth to the eye. Oh, and I'm using this big fluffy brush, which is quite perfect for this. I'm going to bring some down onto my nose. Just to the bridge of the nose. That frightening and alluring look. Now, there, wonderful. Now, we are moving on in earnest to the eye makeup, and I've noticed that a lot of mortals really accentuate their eye makeup, which is quite wonderful. I'm quite fond So I like to make it very vampy and dramatic. So I'm going to be taking that same shade called Vestland. Strange kind of a name. Vestland. And I'm going to take that all over the eyelid, just to deepen what we've already created. Now, you might be wondering what sort of clients I have coming through the Necroman-Spa. You've seen me treat and pamper vampires with a spray tan, and you've seen me treat werewolves. You've heard me talk about ghosts, wendigos, and other manners of creatures. Well, we treat a great deal of monsters, swamp creatures, centaurs, unicorns, baba yagas, pixies, elves, you name it. Any mystical creature worth their salt comes to the Necroman-Spa. It is world renowned, both this world and the other world, for excellence, discretion, and good fun. And you leave feeling more gruesome than what you came in. My favourite clients. What are my favourite clients? My favourite clients must be the elves, because they are so beautiful, timeless and immortal that they only ever come in for superficial pampering. So they are very easy clients. And I always come away feeling so happy when I've been in their presence, like calm. So they are quite lovely creatures, I will say. Werewolves are not, as you know. Most of the time they are quite insufferable. Vampires moan. They always have something to moan about. You'd think after hundreds of years of existence they would be quite used to their existence, but no. Vampires moan a lot. So now I'm going to be taking this shade, Mystery Universe, and we're going to create some dimension in the eye, just on the outer corner of the eye, just to give it that kind of sparkly kind of pop and depth to the outer corner, which is quite nice. But yes, vampires moan. We all have something to moan about. Me, for example. I am still quite bitter that Victor has not invited me to this year's Immortal Ball. I know. It's quite frustrating because I have been treating and looking after Victor for hundreds of years. I know all his secrets. Yet he still won't invite me to the ball. I wonder... Now, I'm going to put a theory out here. It might not be true, and don't tell anyone I think this, but I think Victor has the hots for me. I think that's why he's not inviting me to the ball. He's too embarrassed that he would show himself up if I were there. But that is just a theory. Probably not true in the slightest, and I would never tell anybody apart from you those theories. Or maybe it had to do with Vlad and him. They knew each other, you know, back in the day. But then Vlad mysteriously disappeared, and I never saw him again. I hope that he's out there somewhere, living his life. I wish he would make contact with me again. I do miss him so. I wonder if Victor had anything to do with that. Silliness. So, next I am going to be using this shade, which is called Oracle Light. And it's a shimmery kind of purple colour. It's very nice. I'm going to be patting that all over my eyelid. We're going shimmery today. I'm feeling quite glamorous. Beautiful, really lovely. You mortals do make very good makeup. There, beautifully shimmery. So that is all for the eyeshadows. Next, we need to intensify. And for that, I'm going to be using some eyeliner. Now, back in the day, we used to use eyeliner to protect our eyes from the sun. It used to be made from coal, which has antibacterial properties, which kept away eye infections, which was very, very handy. But nowadays, you mortals seem to use it for decoration rather than practical reasons, which is fine by me, because it is very lovely. So I like to use a lot of this. It gives my eyes great depth, and it makes my blue coloured eyes pop and make them look more fearsome. But it does make my eyes water, which is very strange. I don't cry very often. Vampires don't necessarily cry. We've been known to cry, yes, but it's very frowned upon in our society to cry. To be honest, our tear ducts are well and truly dried up, but sometimes they can leak. Mascara now. I like to put quite a few coats of this. Yes, I still do that funny face, even as a vampire. There. Very alluring. Now, we won't be applying any blush, as like I say, I don't particularly like it. For me, personally, like I say, I feel like it makes me look a little bit too human. I like that kind of still washed out kind of look. So last thing, we need to put some lipstick on. And I'm going to be using this one called Stirred Thoughts, which is jolly vampirish. Again, I'm using my finger to apply. I find it's just so much more easier. And you can really get right in to all those little crevices. So, what are all you mortals doing for Halloween? Yes, I heard that there is a pandemic, which is quite unfortunate. So trick or treat might be cancelled. All I know is that I will be working getting all the vampires and ghouls and mystical beings ready for the All Hallows Ball, and then after that I will probably retire back to my coffin, have a bite to eat, and then go to sleep. What a dreadfully boring Halloween. But next year I will go to the ball. You mark my words. So, that is lipstick. And that is the completed makeup look. I hope you like it. Now, my hair is a little bit flyaway today, so we are going to just give it a little bit of a zhuzh. As I'm feeling in a kind of windswept, tousled, messy kind of feeling. So you could leave it like this. Normally I would curl my hair and make it look a little bit more presentable than this. However, I'm feeling like down doesn't look as nice as up. So I'm going to befont it a little bit at the front, like so, and clip it up into place, like that. There, that looks much more vampiric, almost Frankenstein's wife, yes. Very nice. So, I hope you have enjoyed this little vampiric get ready with me. I hope you also have been enjoying the vampire series as well. I hope you enjoyed the werewolf pamper. Yes. So thank you so much for your attention today, and I will see you next Halloween. Take care, mortals. Toodaloo.